Welcome to Misbehaving in Maine. I'm Dan Williams. This story is called They Can't Expel Us All. And now, here goes everything. Once upon a time in Houlton, Maine, the students of the high school did something impossible. They achieved the long-lost unity of Eden. The lion and the lamb shook hands, became best friends forever, experimented in canoodling, broke up, became friends again, and still canoodle now and then. It's complicated. It's high school. This unity occurred at an assembly the students hadn't asked for, but they used what they were given, and out of it, they created glory. Part 1. In the Beginning. The students scuffed, shuffled, and tromped into the gymnasium. What a sound! A thunder rumble on bleachers which stormed perfectly with the chit-chat of hundreds, the sound of the Darwin machine supercharging mutation by pulling the pubescent ropes of the rack, stretching the young into adult forms of life. This explains the sound, the smell. It explains everything. In front of the bleachers, chairs supported staff, administrators, and teachers, but some teachers planted themselves among the students, the cool teachers and the feared ones, sitting where the militant and the damned had gathered together in pockets of danger. The principal was there to introduce the teacher, who would introduce the guest speaker, who would say something about drugs, diseases, dreams, and Robert Frost. Guest speakers like this inspire only employees, staff members, administrators, and teachers, and only those who have kicked their drugs, diseases, and followed their dreams down less traveled roads to get where they are. In other words, 2%. The rest are where they are because they followed the very traveled roads of least resistance, unenthusiastically chasing the dream of medical and dental. Now meet the men. Mr. Principal. He was tall. His height had pushed his head beyond the reach of his hair. His hair was a gray fringe around the back of his head. In color and shape, this hair was a haunted crescent moon, a parasitic moon clinging to the flesh of its earth for food. His face was memorable. All his features seemed exaggerated, a man made to be seen and known at a great distance, a Greek mask of a man, so you could accurately guess how pissed off he was down long hallways and across gymnasiums. Imagine the terror of going to his office, his hyperbolic head only a desk's width away. That's too much sensory information to process. One of his ice blue eyes would have been more than enough, but he had two, side by side, and a mouth mere inches beneath them, a mouth that spoke at a frequency tuned to loosen liquids. And don't forget, no one could ever forget, his unpruned eyebrows. They were the heart of darkness. He wore a tweed suit that was brown or gray, but mostly the color of wheat, reminding you of feudal systems and breakfast cereals without flavor, and the musty smell of good things kept in storage so long they go bad. Next, meet Mr. Teacher. This guy, who would introduce the guest speaker, was young, or he looked young. But when you saw him up close, you realized it's a hard world out there. His face was a deflated athletic ball riding low atop a certain kind of body. This kind, when he picked things up off the floor or sat down, he made a groaning sound, the sound of wind loss from late-in-life dads. Yes, he had freckles. He summered on the island of misfit toys. You saw him at the store sometimes, and he was dressed down, meaning jeans, meaning a flappy tourist green t-shirt tucked into these jeans, as if he didn't know what Saturdays are. You were basically seeing him naked and wanted to bury him in blazers and clip-on ties to make him more comfortable, to help him blend into himself again, healing the wound his nudity had gouged into your understanding of the universe. Lastly, meet Mr. Guest Speaker. He was tall and very tall as the principal, but unlike Mr. Principal, the guest's hair had followed him to the sky. His hair was wet-looking, solid brown, and its design was futuristic from the perspective of 1950s sci-fi. Mr. Guest looked over his bullet points. Drugs, diseases, dreams, and let's see. California poets masquerading as New Englanders because this is America. He smiled. The smile was connected to some brain firing that said, "Go get 'em, Charlie Brown." His name wasn't Charlie. He'd never even read a single Peanuts all the way through. It's just that the guest's head filled with odd phrases when he was nervous. And who wouldn't be nervous? Listen to the sound and feel the electricity of humanity jammed into the sardine can time bomb of mandatory anything. You remember it well, don't you? How could you forget? Part 2, in the near middle. Let us begin. Mr. Principal went to the mic. "Good morning," he said in his usual way, like a leader of men, like a dictator landslide elected by the living and the dead. What happened next, I don't understand. However, this doesn't mean I don't accept it fully, love it, and cleave it to my side-by-side bosoms with all of my heart. Again, Mr. Principal said, "Good morning." Then it happened. One student clapped. Yes, the student clapped for Mr. Principal's greeting, and this, friends and neighbors, opened wide a magical door. Who stepped through it? You'll see in a moment. Mr. Principal's eyes of ice attempted to locate the clappist, but the clapping stopped before he could. Mr. Principal's cheeks reddened, all four of them, and they, being extremely sensitive now, told him which way the wind might possibly blow. Me-ward, he thought. It's going to blow me-ward. Our principal was no stranger to disrespect, but he'd never been disrespected quite like this before, celebrated for his delivery of good morning. It was a sophisticated put-down. "I congratulate you, sir, for your mediocrity." But what's a guy supposed to do? You have to keep going. Mr. Principal kept going. "We have a treat for you today," he said. He paused for rhetorical impact and for more oxygen, but in that unfortunate pause the clapper clapped again. But this time, others joined in. Now you know who else stepped through the magical door. Others. 20 or 30 others. Not many considering the total number, but still. Yes, very still. All right, said Mr. Principal. "I'm excited too." A big smile. "Nothing hurts me." He even clapped. He stopped clapping immediately when his clapping added 20 or 30 clappers to the 20 or 30. He stopped dead, then chased the dead with one of his favorites. "That's enough." Somehow it was. The clapping died. Mr. Principal felt his power. He also felt his escape. Quickly he introduced Mr. Teacher, who would introduce Mr. Guest. No clapping for Mr. Teacher. Not yet. He went to the mic. He flicked the mic. It popped like it should. To be funny, he said, "Testing, testing." But it was too late. The students had already started clapping. They were clapping for Mr. Teacher's jaunty mic flick. And this time, all the students clapped. They clapped loudly. A few woos bullied their way into the mix. Woo! This applause, sad to say, was the biggest applause Mr. Teacher had ever gotten in his life, the biggest he would ever get. The clapping went on and on. The strategically planted teachers leaned this way and that, saying, okay, guys, smiling and trying to sound jolly, though some, like their leader, said, "That's enough." This time, it wasn't. Because the students could hear and the students could see. It's not only me, it's Us, all of us. Dear leaders who I didn't elect, you can stop me. You can even stop me and my friends. But you can't stop us all. My God, they can't stop us all. The teachers in chairs twisted to glare at the audience. They looked at Mr. Teacher with decorative sympathy. Then they looked at their principal, their shoulder-to-shoulder eyes screaming, "Do something!" The redness of Mr. Principal's upper and lower cheeks connected over the long shank of his body in a superhighway of rage. Fragments of literature squalled through his head like a tempest of moths. He snatched one. Moth 1. The whole aim of practical politics is to keep the populace alarmed and hence clamorous to be led to safety by menacing it with an endless series of hobgoblins, all of them imaginary. But I can't scare them. I already tried, didn't I? I stood tall. I said, that's enough. It didn't work. Moth 2. It is not in the nature of politics that the best men should be elected. The best men do not want to govern their fellow men. Stop, I get why you're talking about governance, but not politics and elections, so shut up, you off-topic moths. Moth 3. If voting changed anything, they'd make it illegal. I said shut up! Give me something I can use to crush this thing. Moth 4. When a populace becomes distracted by trivia, when cultural life is redefined as a perpetual round of entertainments, when serious public conversation becomes a form of baby talk, when, in short, a people become an audience and their public business a vaudeville act, then a nation finds itself at risk. Culture death is a clear possibility. Finally, thank you. I just happen to have a bit of entertainment handy, a real treat. After all, it's what we're here for. Without further ado. Mr. Principal looked at Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest refused to make eye contact, which clearly said, "Don't you dare send me into this. It's your school, you fix it. You're the one who invited me, and I'm the one who told my wife, who isn't here, it's finally happening, honey." "What's happening?" she said. "Recognition!" He said it too loudly, angry that she didn't know immediately what was finally happening. Mr. Principal went to the lectern again, and for some reason Mr. Teacher stayed there. Shock might be the reason. The men stood side by side like a set of wide eyeballs at the lectern, and there Mr. Principal did his best. While the students cheered on, he wiped his brow, retightened his cheeks, then extended his hand, pointing it at Mr. Guest. The clapping stopped on a dime. Silence. A heavy silence, humid, a hopped up and glowing silence, glowing as green as a star-crossed clipper ship in the wink before the lightning strikes. In the silence, all eyes fell on Mr. Guest. What choice did he have? None, he thought. His nervy mind fired. Once more unto the something, dear friends, one life to give for my country, where no Charlie Brown has gone before. Reluctantly he stood. His excessive tallness showed off his reluctance well. He looked as tall as two men, one standing unsteadily on the other's shoulders, both men wanting more than anything to disappear. He walked to the lectern. The students held their peace. Mr. Principal and Mr. Teacher passed him by on the way to the safety of their seats. Mr. Guest passed them without a handshake, without a nod. Then he took his place behind the lectern. He looked out over the silent masses and he waited. Silence. Silence. A ball or two of tumble pubes rolled by pubescently. In the quiet, 500 hearts beat as one. They beat from 1 to 10, then 10 down to 1. A countdown. No one could hear it, but all could feel it. 3, 2, one. And that's when Mr. Guest began. In the last long second before blast off, kaboom, or whatever gigantic awfulness was about to happen, he parted his lips. He parted those lips as quickly as doves spread their legs mid-flight to fertilize the earth. And he issued forth his good word, his polished mirror of a monologue on drugs, diseases, dreams, and poetry. He didn't start it by clearing his throat or thanking the administration for inviting him. He started this way: "Okie dokie." And with that, as quickly as Milton's hellhounds leapt from the womb of comely sin, the students let slip their blast off, their kaboom, a sound as fat, fierce, and fast as the honking hog of war. They clapped, they wooed, they screamed for Mr. Guest. An explosion of sound. The sound deepened, it widened, it beanstalked to the roof to punch through, to blow the roof off, and still it grew louder. Teachers swiveled their heads madly, wrathfully, exorcistically. The planted teachers kept their seats as the students rose into a standing ovation all around them, a revolutionary tide that erased the teachers' sightlines to one another, snipping the last threads of their unity, their power. And while some teachers boiled low and red in these foxholes, these lobster pots, some laughed. They suppressed it as well as they could, but they laughed. Not Mr. Principal, though. He did not laugh, and not Mr. Guest. While the children brought down the house again and again like 500 Samsons of sound, Mr. Guest straightened his notes and straightened his notes, and he prayed for an idea from paradise or perdition that would help him win back the room that had never been his. And just when his misery was about to reach a level that would have given him an epiphany 2 weeks later, "Honey, I think I've wasted my life," the students gave him a gift. They spared him his epiphany. With all their might, they wrestled their clapping down. It died. They hunted their woos and killed them too. Lastly, they knocked their standing ovation onto its victorious rump. Silence again. Silence so heavy and true, and all of it standing on the shoulders of Mr. Guest. He gave his speech. Drugs, he began, worked his way to diseases, then finally found dreams waiting for him at the end of his notes. He was almost done. Just one more thing to do. In the spectacular silence, he said, "And I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you." Clapping happened, yes, but it wasn't the same. No cheering either, not a single woo. This limp recognition, compared to what everyone in the room knew the students were capable of, was as good as the silence of a tomb within a tomb. In the quiet of this clapping, Mr. Guest did the following. He left the lectern. He left his notes on the lectern. He walked. He didn't walk to his seat. He walked in an independent way, which led him across the gym floor, out the double doors, and into the remainder of his future. Whatever was waiting for him out there, drugs, diseases, dreams, or lonely roads, this story doesn't tell. Back in the auditorium, the assembly was over. Mr. Principal dismissed the students, not knowing what else to do with them in light of what had just been done. The great overthrow. The great fear of principals, administrators, teachers, and leaders everywhere. A fear that said, this can happen, and since it can happen again and again, at every assembly, in every classroom, not only in Houlton, but in other towns too, other regions, states, the country, and beyond. Yes, in that hot, gigantic room, it was easy to imagine the ungovernable weight of applause bringing down the nations of the world. and Houlton High would forever be remembered as the site of the revolution's birth. What happened that day never happened again. It tried to happen. There were rogue clappers at future assemblies, but only one or two joined them, and these were heavily punished. Part 3. In the End. The old Eden spirit of unity had gone away as mysteriously as it had arrived. But maybe the spirit's leaving isn't so mysterious. Maybe the great unity didn't happen again because it didn't need to. Its mission had been completed successfully. The mission? A message. Beware, beware. For any when and anywhere, as long as we have hands and air, we hold a power beyond the reach of sorrow, politics, and foul defeat. The unstoppable power of unity. This has been Misbehaving in Maine. See you next time. And remember, you may be wicked, you may be weird, but you're not alone.